Welcome back to the Sport of Fitness podcast. We are in episode 3 and it's keeping on going. Today we have the Senior Director of Sport Operations, Heather Lawrence. She'll be joining us to talk all about the CrossFit Games, new efforts in collaborating with entities outside of the game space. We'll talk about the semifinal events. We'll touch on the Open 26.3 at Wodapalooza and maybe what the future of that collaborations efforts can be for the sport of fitness. And then after that, we're going to recap the 2025 Rogue Invitational that just went down this weekend in Aberdeen, Scotland. Adrian Conway, who was there to call the action with Sean Woodland, will be joining the show. We'll recap the men's and the women's side. And then I have 5 questions for Conway about the Rogue Invitational and possibly about the upcoming 2026 Games season. And you guys love it. We're bringing it back. Our top 10 feats of fitness to close things out for this episode will be at the end. But up next, we have Heather Lawrence.
What if 2 days could redefine your health and your life?
Welcome to your CrossFit Level 1 seminar.
Whether you're a seasoned CrossFitter or new to the journey, this course equips you to take command of your fitness and shape a healthier future.
Heather, I feel like I had the pleasure of seeing you all day today, but now we're live on a podcast and we're all going to talk about CrossFit Games and their collaborative efforts outside of the CrossFit space. And as one who has been on the outside and sometimes on the inside or everywhere in between, I haven't seen anything like this really since I got into CrossFit, which was 2008. I mean, look, the old school days, we were called the CrossFit Mafia for a reason, for good reasons for the time. Is like, hey, our way or the highway, you're either in or you're out. But this year, it looks like we're really reaching our hand across the aisle to a lot of entities. We just touched on semifinals events, now 12 this year, coming off of what we did last year. I know we tried that in 2019, 2021 or so, but it seems like we're really getting the ball rolling. So in your position, you are a heavy-handed person when it comes to that collaborative effort. Why now to really get outside of our own bubble and reach out to these other entities in the space?
Well, hey, Chase, and great to see you. And you're right, you are everywhere, and we've been hanging out today, but always good to see you and have some time together. You know, as we come up on 2026, we are coming off an incredible 2025 CrossFit Games. We're very fortunate in that we had an excellent group of semifinal organizers last year that we partnered with. And really over the years, developing relationships with the events that you've seen kind of front and center with the CrossFit Games season. Those relationships continue to get deeper and more collaborative as we go. You know, you had Boz on last week. He hit a lot of the details around those 12 semifinal events. But as we think about the growth of semifinals, we are leaning in from the HQ side of things in 2026, really more than we have in the past. And so it's been really fun just thinking ahead and getting to know all of these organizers as we come upon the semifinal season.
Well, let's touch on those semifinals first. Last year we had 10. This year we have 12. We're bringing in age group qualifiers to live competition in the first time in history for the game season. What was it that really got you guys to go that route this year for those semifinal events? Particularly, let's start with the age groups first, of bringing those into live competition for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that we've heard feedback before that Masters athletes, age group athletes do want to compete in.
Whoa, wait. Feedback from Masters athletes? No.
Shocking, I know. And so really, sometimes things take longer than you want. This is one of those things. As we've built the relationship with these events, learned more about other in-person Masters events that are out in the ecosystem, the time was absolutely right in 2026 to think about what events would be a good match for Masters. Some of the events already had Masters within their competition profile. Those were great events to elevate and add some qualifying spots for. In other scenarios, we had events that are Masters only events that really haven't been part of the CrossFit Games season in the past. And this was an opportunity to really listen to the community who recommended those events for those qualifying spots. You know, we got to know those event organizers, kind of go through conversations about what they're trying to do to be unique and serve their community. HQ, thinking about where we want those qualifying spots to be, the type of events where we want our athletes to be able to go travel to. And we, of course, I need to have confidence that that event experience is going to be amazing for the athletes on the ground. So all of that goes into the conversations, and landing this year with some incredible Masters only events and some events with Masters being added to the qualifying path.
And not to mention, teams are back in live competition qualifying. They were out last year. I think it's an incredible change back to what really I think is that middle tier. I would say it's like the middle class of CrossFit athletes. Is like the team competition is such a huge part of the CrossFit Games qualifying season. So now they're back in action, which I think is incredible. Quarterfinals coming back. Not oftentimes do you get, I would say, probably the loudest feedback from last year's decision to take it out and then to bring it back, so to see such a positive change there. From your perspective, you guys do get a lot of feedback. Either it's welcomed or it's loud, and that's just the nature of sport. That's the nature of people's passion for CrossFit and the sport of CrossFit. Knowing that you can trust more of these events to take the reins a little bit and help with the game season, or the feedback you're getting from quarterfinals coming back, what's it like for you guys as a team to see that positive feedback and having that trust that it is going to go well?
It's incredible, to be honest with you. These events, all of them existed before they were semifinals. These are quality events around the world. They've made a name for themselves in their part of the world. They each have something incredibly unique about them. And maybe that's because of where they are. It could be a cultural aspect. It could be a specific type of competitor that's attracted to it. It could be the qualifier and the excitement that has been built around that. It could be the show on the floor, in addition to the competition, that kind of puts them maybe above some other events. So when you think about the type of events and the talented event organizers we have out there, it all comes together in knowing that we are able to help elevate what makes these events unique and still have the appropriate test and path for the athletes with all the opportunities. And like you mentioned with teams, that's a great example. Last year, even without teams being on the games path, we saw some of these events have incredible team competitions.
Yes.
Teams wanted to compete. And so seeing that really helped us make that decision to bring in these other divisions as part of the qualifying path and part of these semifinal events.
Well, and that's a great point, because these events, though they are doing really the bulk work of getting a large chunk of athletes to the CrossFit Games for the CrossFit Games, we want to be able to help these events too. And now bringing in the age groups, like we talked about, the teams that we talked about, all part of that competition. I think it's a great way to help these events grow, get more people to come, get more people to come watch. And I mean, the Legends events that's going to be at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, good luck signing up for that event, because if you guys know the history of that place, it's one of the greatest, I would say the greatest qualifying regional venue back in its day. Obviously the Torium Pro, it's its own beautiful monster. So it's really cool to see that. But one event that I want to talk about next is one of the biggest collaborative efforts I've seen from CrossFit. And that is with Wodapalooza taking 26.3, announcing it there on site, and then allowing the competitors for those scores to count. But we're doing way more at Wodapalooza for 26.3 than just an open announcement.
It cannot be here soon enough. We're so excited. And honestly, working with the Wodapalooza team, this really began, 8 or 9 months ago, thinking about some possibilities that they were exploring about date changes, thinking about where the open season might land, starting to have conversations about what that might mean for the community, whether it was a collaboration or not. So the conversation was really about the impact on the community originally. And it just kind of goes to show you that the open lines of communication with these events go beyond, every collaboration may not work, but it is our job and our responsibility to continue to talk to events. In this case, it was a great opportunity to try something new and different, and it kept getting bigger, to be honest with you. It started with, hey, maybe we should do the open announcement there. Well, maybe we'll have spectators have a stage where they can do the workout. And from there, we've landed at a spot where Wodapalooza just is wrapping up their online qualifier at this point. Athletes are
Mhm.
thinking about registering, and I would encourage them to go ahead and do so. But it's really a comprehensive experience, not only for the athletes, but also spectators. So an athlete that's participating at Wodapalooza can, number one, expect to be part of and be able to see, the open announcement. It's going to be great. So we'll start with that. They'll then have 26.3 as part of their competition. So that workout will count as their score for that event. It'll also be able to go into the CrossFit Open score submission board, submit that score, and that will then count as part of their open experience, the final workout of the 2026 CrossFit Open.
Awesome.
However, if people are spectating, there will also be an entire stage where people can go ahead and throw down and take care of 26.3
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
on site. So there's no excuse. If you're there, you need to be doing 26.3.
Yeah. The only excuse is if you hit the strip a little too hard, maybe the night before. So maybe do 26.3 and celebrate the open being over. Actually, what a great time to just get the open over with and then enjoy Miami Beach and everything that comes with Wodapalooza Miami in that time frame. So I thought that was the coolest thing. And I can't imagine the lift that it took for your team to make that possible. But from my end, I think it is a great step forward in opening up possibilities of what we can do, not just with the open, but whatever the future may be. And that's the last thing I want to talk to you about is that what else is out there that we can take this, because like anything is that opening up the pie to more people only makes it bigger for everybody, which I think is really cool. So what other things are you guys looking at as far as what future collabs could be?
Well, without giving away a ton of secrets here, one thing I do want to mention is that even though we're talking about 2026, there have been really interesting and cool collaborations throughout the years at CrossFit. I mean, you think way back to the liftoff. You probably remember that. The liftoff was actually a collaboration with USA Weightlifting. That's a great example. And so there's been what we would call maybe some dry years, some years that weren't as collaborative. But now as we come upon this time where we have an opportunity to really kind of lock arms with a lot of different types of sport organizations and other types of organizations, we're really open to continue to think about creative ways that bring something new to the community. There has to be something in it that makes you pause and say, we have to do that. We have to do it. This is to the benefit of our community. It's something that would elevate the experience of everybody involved. And it could be something small or big. Even some of the smaller collaborations have been really, really cool and really fun for the community. At the 2025 Games in Albany, we had a spectator event with the Ruck Race League. And so it was really early in the morning. So it's more like a 5-hour. Yeah, you may not have been aware of this. But we had the Ruck Race League ran an event there. We had arm wrestling, not even remotely related to CrossFit, in the lobby of the games there. And so as we look ahead, we're not only thinking about kind of fan interactions and fan engagement at the games, but we're thinking about that athlete experience. And you kind of never know what's going to come up, right? Like we're continually talking to people like the United Grid League. We're talking to athletes that maybe use CrossFit as their primary method for training for their sport. An amazing young man, Kieran Riley, who's an Olympic silver medalist BMX rider, he has reached out to let us know that he trains CrossFit for his BMX riding. So there's so much out there and so much opportunity that it would be hard to pin down what's next.
All right, so we'll send the feelers out there, and I feel like this is a safe space to look, let's be honest. I mean, you mentioned Grid League. All right, if we're going to mention Grid League, I mean, High Rocks has to be on the table. Tactical Games is on the table. The BMX that you just said, I had a buddy of mine who left our gym in Dallas and opened up a BMX training facility in Bentonville, Arkansas. Bring back, do you remember the night battles that they had at the games? Wasn't it Dale Sarin that led that whole charge?
That sounds familiar. Yep.
He was at least involved in that. If you guys haven't seen that, what year was that, Bishop? Was that 2013? That was the wildest thing. But the fact that, okay, it's open, come on, let's have the discussion at the very least, I think is a huge step in the right direction, because at our core, and let's just take sport out of it. Let's talk CrossFit. It's the right. It's the train for the everyday life, right? The unknown and unknowable. And that doesn't mean it's the secrets that we keep that we don't give you. It's that life is unknown. Life is unknowable. And CrossFit keeps us generally physically prepared. So why not use what makes us the best version of ourselves from a physical standpoint in all these other, to express what we do inside the gym. So I think that's really cool. And I'm very excited to see what the future of that could be with not just CrossFit, but the sport of CrossFit. So that's very neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm certainly couldn't agree more. I think the one thing you missed there is it can be fun. These things are a ton of fun to be part of.
It should be fun.
They should be fun. Absolutely.
And how could we forget Chad 1000? I mean, one of the biggest collaborative efforts we have with CrossFit and Chad 1000. That'll be happening on Veterans Day. I believe it is the 11th, where you can sign up for that as a collaborative effort with CrossFit and the Step Up Foundation. So want to give that, that's less than a week from now. Oh,
yeah. Your time for the training plan might have passed.
Yeah.
But I believe in you.
I'll just have my penance for $1,000 step ups. Well, Heather, thank you so much for what you guys have already done for this season with everything that's been released, the semifinal announcements, what's on the table for future collabs in the beginning. And as you said, if you guys got an idea out there that you think we could do something fun with you with the sport of CrossFit and the sport of fitness, let us know. And we look forward to that. So Heather, thanks so much for your time. I look forward to chatting with you more on the Sport of Fitness podcast. Up next, we have Mr. Adrian Conway as we recap everything about the 2025 Rogue Invitational.
How long are you going to listen to a society that tells you it's a pill, it's an injection, it's this, it's that? There is no quick fix. Yes, optimal health could be a reality. Yes, you don't have to be the quickest, the strongest. All it takes is you making a decision right now. This is your time. Because practice makes permanent.
Mr. Adrian Conway, live still in Aberdeen, Scotland. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Just made the drive back from Edinburgh.
Okay, well, thank you for making the time, over 2 hour drive back just to hop on with me for 15 minutes?
That's right. No, it was actually to catch my 6 a.m. flight tomorrow back to the States.
Oh gosh. Now, is it just you or is family there with you this year?
No, my wife is here. Ashley's here as well. And we've been able to steal a few days to explore the area. So it's been
awesome. Second year in Aberdeen for the Rogue Invitational. Unknown of where it's going to be next. I saw Katie talking on the Coffee Pods and Wads podcast of potentially moving this year. Is you want to inappropriately break any news that you shouldn't be breaking on the I'm just kidding.
Listen, man.
Don't do that.
If I could even inappropriately give any hints or anything about where anything would go, I would love to be able to keep that secret. But that secret I'm not privy to. Just like all the workouts that we cover here.
That's true.
I go to the athlete briefing and I find out the same time the athletes do, and that's how it gets down. So
the best kept secret in CrossFit is the events for the Rogue Invitational. But let's talk about the Rogue Invitational. Let's start for the women. All right, you got your top five. Laura Horvath wins. Is this her third Rogue Invitational championship?
Yes.
All right. 760 points over Alex Gazan. Alex Gazan back in competition. Let's start there. We weren't sure. She had that injury, unfortunately, after the NorCal Classic last year. I believe it was broke her leg in a car accident, but thankfully she's okay. She's back, and to get second at the Rogue Invitational, how does she look out there? I mean, I watched it on TV, but you were there in person.
Yeah, I mean, she's the physical specimen that you would expect her to be. She walks into a room and it's captivating because of the physiological fitness that she carries with her, but psychologically and emotionally, man, she nailed it this weekend. I think when you look at her pedigree as an athlete, the things that she does well and the things that she may struggle with, Rogue presents a bit of a flavor that lends itself advantageous to Miss Gazan, right? Like, so you think about the simple work capacity, the flexing of the ability to suffer, a lot of hanging and pulling, which she has. Yes. She does at a very high level.
Probably have the ability to practice a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, for her, is that you mentioned the mental side, is that just getting over injuries. I mean, you were an athlete your entire life, obviously your career with CrossFit on individual, team, and masters. But prior to that with football, is that Injuries being just sometimes it's look, if you get off the couch, you're putting yourself physically at risk technically, although I would say sitting on the couch is way worse for you from a physical standpoint. But the mental side of coming back, look, the body's healed. The doctor says I'm good to go, but the trust in your body is so important when it comes to competing in CrossFit, and to have that in your first comp, that's got to be a great boost for Alex going into the next season.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so, especially with the high level of capacity that was demanded of them over these last 3 days, man. I mean, I'm sure you've taken deep dives into the programming and what was demanded of them from a physiological standpoint. So for her to navigate that so well and perform at such a high level, to me, man, that's got to be a way for her to have tremendous confidence moving forward into 2026 and the CrossFit season, but also for her to trust her ability to bounce back from something like this.
Yeah. I would say based off the programming coming in, I would have been a little nervous if I was Alex's shoes, but she did phenomenal, taking second place. And then Lucy Campbell. Is it time to stop talking about Lucy as like this now surprising finisher? Is like what she had to do in the last day, second, first, third, to get podium finish by 5 points over Emma Lawson?
Yes, it is time to put that conversation to bed.
Okay.
She is an all-out, no doubt competitor every time for the podium. It doesn't matter who's present. Doesn't matter what the events look like. And I think, there's probably been enough public chatter about this, but it's not like you look at this program and you're like, oh, Lucy Campbell's going to absolutely demolish this. She's going to kill this.
You talk
right? Like,
to Lucy Campbell and she'll tell you this was not the best weekend programming-wise that she could have asked for.
That's right. And so with that considered, and then you look at the way that she executed, and to me, the way that she held it together mentally and emotionally, because Chase, and you'll know what I mean when I say this, throughout the course of this weekend, the order of operations was very non-traditional. We didn't see a ton of traditional CrossFit early. We didn't see a long, slow grinder early that let those aerobically developed at a high level athletes like shine, where we typically see that in like the first or second event. And so they had to almost like remain calm, hope that it was coming, strike when it did come. And then of course, physically, like their bodies were already dug in a pretty steep deficit. So for me, when I see Lucy do that, especially on the final day, once those opportunities present themselves, I'm like, oh man, she got it. And then I ran into her also at the Edinburgh Castle 2 days after the competition, wrapped up. And I'm like, so how you feeling? How physically you feeling? And she's like, I'd probably be feeling way worse if I didn't end up on the podium this weekend.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good. And I was like, touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
A podium finish and a paycheck will make that soreness disappear pretty quickly. Let's switch over to the man before we get to your 5 questions, sir. Is Jeff Adler, a little banged up at the CrossFit Games this year in Albany, won the Rogue Invitational last year, wins it back-to-back again this year, 30 points over Justin Medeiros. What did you see from Jeff that makes you believe we may get the Jeff Adler that we know as the Games champion going into this next season?
For me, it was his consistency. I mean, I think when you think about someone that's perennial winning gold, when they're at the top of the podium, you think about top 10 finishes. And I know he had a couple outside of it, but they were 11th, right? So it's not like he's dropping the proverbial ball of a 15th or a 16th or a 17th in a field of 20 to 30 this weekend. Of course, we know it was a field of 20. And to me, that's what we see now. When we see Jeff healthy, it's the most dangerous. He can be the most dangerous athlete in any lineup in any field at any time. So I think that's what he proved this weekend.
Speaking of dangerous, I don't want to speak too soon, but is Justin Medeiros back? Do we have the 2021, 2022 Games champ in rare form again in October?
In my opinion, it is certainly showing that that's again is a conclusive statement that we can make. It's not a guess. It's not like, well, if he pieces this together, we saw the run he made at the Games, right? Just points away from being on the podium.
Yes.
And that's a decision here or there throughout the weekend, and he's on it, right? So then to see this as a follow-up, that there was like this opportunity too for us to sit back and be like, man, if he does something pretty special, he could actually win this thing. But he couldn't necessarily do that, but he showed us again only one finish outside of the top 10. And to me, and again, I know that you'll understand when I say this, but a Justin Medeiros that runs well is very dangerous to the field. Because when we go back and we look at his event placings and finishes, when he was the 2021, 2022 Justin, where he like stormed onto the scene, he was a good runner, and he's not the best runner, but it's to watch his body language, watch his success in making moves and making passes, and it's those controlled finishes that he's able to show that tell me that he's back up at his tippy top shape.
And we heard the last year or two that he's had a nagging foot injury that maybe led to him not being able to do that. And if he's past that and gets to work on that running, and that pays dividends, like you said, is a powerful tool in the tool belt of Justin Medeiros. And then third place, Roman Karenikov, only 20 points back of Justin Medeiros. Roman is someone who was poised to win the CrossFit Games back. Was it 2024? 23. Yeah. Posed to win the CrossFit Games back in 23. That's right. James Sprague won in 24. Unfortunately, had an injury in the third to last event on Sunday. And we haven't really seen the same Roman since, in my opinion. Roman getting third here with the field he was competing against. I mean, look at this. James Sprague, Jay Crouch, Jason Hopper, Ricky Garrard, like perennial Games podium finishers, Games champions. He gets third. What did you see from Roman this weekend that maybe, all right, not only is Justin back, is Jeff's back, but is Roman back too?
I think so. And I say that with a little less confidence just because of the way that Roman's fitness can sometimes be expressed. I think that Roman still exudes this fitness where, and everybody that's a CrossFit fan will understand what I mean when I say this. This event is a bit of a wheelhouse event overall for Roman Karenikov. It is a high power output. It's going to be a slugfest. There's going to be some heavy. There's going to be some power. There's going to be some speed. He's got those things. And he has a ridiculous amount of endurance for someone that is his size. But when it comes to the nuance of skill and high-level gymnastics, the question still, to me, comes up of like, where will he finish if it's a little bit biased towards less loading, more traditional CrossFit? But here's the cool thing about Roman that I think I saw this weekend is that he's back to competing head-to-head with people. So to me, when he was at his best, it was like him and Jeff Adler, jaw-jacking, going back and forth. Him and Justin Medeiros. You know, you see these different personalities come out, and often that leads to like great competitors for the athletes. Like the athletes rise when their attitudes are jovial and they're being childlike out there. You saw that from Roman all weekend. He's like looking from left to right, almost like, hey, who am I going to pick off here? He had a little bit of a slow start with that 15th and 14th, but then after that, look at these. I mean, it's 5, 5, 2, 4, 3, 7, 1. Like,
right.
He's certainly building momentum in the right way. Yes.
All right. Last one before we get to our 5 questions is we have 4 CrossFit Games champs in the men's field, multiple second and third place podium finishers. We know Rogue is, like you said, programming wise, it can be wheelhouse depending on the athlete you are. That isn't James Sprague. And James Sprague gets 4th in this field with this programming, nearly gets 2nd last year. I think he missed it by 1 point to Ricky Garrard at the CrossFit Games. Are we done with, hey, James was kind of this, flash in the pan champ, or is like, hey, maybe the person we need to worry about the most, if James can do this, what can he do next?
100%. To me, I believe that his fellow competitors had realized this after the CrossFit Games this year, right? It was like this whole year that he put together where it was the CrossFit Games and people were like, okay, a little bit of an asterisk by that from the public at large. And then you went forward and saw what he did at Wodapalooza. And then you went forward and saw what he did through the semifinals. And then you move forward again and you're like, okay, back at the CrossFit Games, he's still the man. Like, he's still right there vying for the top spot. And I think he's officially put that to bed now at a competition like the Rogue Invitational, where historically you're like, James is the tall, thin guy. Isn't that James? Nope. Yeah. Nope, that's not James.
He's the endurance guy.
Yeah, we've watched James grow into his manhood that's increased strength, endurance, and stamina, which he already had. So I think it's a really fun thing to watch. But I'm going to tell you right now that if he can stay healthy and stay trending in the direction that he is, he will be hard to beat. He'll be very hard to beat.
I like it. All right, Adrian. Now it's time for the hot seat. I've got 5 questions for Conway. You're going to get 5 questions. I feel like they will get easier to answer. Or sorry, no, they will start easy, and then I'm going to start challenging you a little bit. I'm going to give you about 30 to 45 seconds to answer them. But you ready? 5 questions with Conway?
Let's try to roll through them. Let's get it.
All right, let's hit the first one. Is Fabian Hermans for real? This is the only invite from the Q to compete with a monster field of men. Took 15th, I think, over the weekend and held his own. Is this someone we're going to see maybe at the CrossFit Games as an individual one year?
He's probably a couple years out. Fabian Hermans did finish 15th, but here's the deal. He's the real deal. He's the real deal because if you qualify through the Q into the Rogue Invitational, you've done the work, you'd measure the plates, you'd measure the distances, you'd validated your range of motion. It's the most thorough way to qualify for anything. And it's the biggest headache to a coach and an athlete if you've ever gone through it. But it's a headache because it's thorough and because it's right. And to me, I think he had a chance this weekend a couple times to be like, I was up there on the mic like, whoa, he's certainly for real. And it was very, very impressive. Now, will he be at the games in the next 1 or 2 years? We got to see him make it to semifinals and do his thing there first. So I think we might be a couple years out before we see that.
All right. So if you want to think you're an expert analyst, just start throwing his name out as a dark horse every year. And then it might land in 2027, 2028.
Yeah, because he's definitely got the potential.
Nice. Next question. Who impressed you the most at the Rogue Invitational this year?
Okay, this is a tough one. This is what's hard about this, Chase, is that it's not a surprise to the community and people that nerd out about it, but it was Colton Mertens. Colton Mertens, top 10 at the Rogue Invitational. I know he wasn't a podium guy, but I don't necessarily put Colton in the box of like, hey, this guy's going to be on the podium. I don't. There's going to be some things against a field like this that he just simply won't perform well enough yet that I have seen. Running, rope climbs, right? Like you get it, covering vast distances. The same reason he couldn't capitalize on the deadlift, handstand, push-up workout that probably everybody guessed he would win is because there was actually a transition there that he got outrun through. So, but what he did on the back squat event with the sandbag, like I couldn't. My mind was literally blown as I was watching him do the back squats into the fourth round of the 40. So I think that he really impressed me some of the most on the men's side. Can I give you a woman too?
Give me Who do we got?
Emma Lawson.
Oh, okay.
And it might be, again, some people are like, oh, that's an easy one. But it's the impressiveness to me is that it's the first time that I've seen her on a big stage in a while. And again, it's not necessarily her cup of tea. It's not the style of workouts that she would shine at the best. Now you add one more CrossFit test in. That's a little bit, when I say CrossFit test, I mean traditional couplet, triplet. I'm talking in that 8 to 10 minute. You know what I mean.
I got you.
We don't have to go into the programming lecture, but you throw another one of those in there, or another nuanced skill, gymnastics wise, that is a little bit more difficult for most of the female women that she can execute at a high level. Gosh, I'm like, we're talking about her towards the top of the podium this weekend. So I was very impressed with her overall output, being that it's been a while for her.
I like that. I mean, 5 points out of a podium position. It came down to the final events. What she did on the running event and how relaxed she looked the whole time. Also impressed. But the female that she got 5 points behind is my next question. Can Lucy Campbell, no more, hey, surprise, she's back, wrist injury story, how cool I know. Can Lucy Campbell win the CrossFit Games? Wore the leader jersey last year.
She did. Here's
not necessarily next year. This is kind of a Fabian, right?
I got you. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, and it's even less about what I see from her physically and more about what I see from her up here. And knowing her history with injuries, knowing the heart and the mind of the competitor to me is what really gives her a chance. Like she's pretty transparent with there's ups and downs all the time, right? But there's something about the way she tends to roll with the punches that we see publicly. And, you know, we can get to see a little bit behind the scenes as analysts sometimes, Chase, whether it's in the warm-up area or like we get to see the athletes away from the competition floor. And there's something unique about her to me, that the way that she coaches, she's a coach and she bleeds into others and educates others. And I think this makes you a more dangerous competitor the more that you do that. So to me, the answer is yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go. What happens if Laura Horvath returns for the 2026 CrossFit Games season?
You and I are really happy. and we're excited about this head-to-head matchup that we're about to see. Listen, if Laura returns, I hope T is out there, and I hope we get to see a head-to-head, woman-to-woman, like just slugfest. Now, not to discount anyone else, right? But this is what we want to see. This is what. Listen, it's provocative and what gets the people going. You know what I mean?
Hey, let's be real for a second. Some people are going to be in it because they don't want to see it. And that is called sports. I mean, look, I'll talk about my brutal Dallas Cowboys right now. You either love them or you hate them, but everybody's watching at the same time. That's why they're the most popular team in the world.
Exactly, man. It's very true. So yes, I hope that she, and there's a lot of stuff about, hey, is she coming back? Is that good? I'm welcoming back everybody that wants to come back and be a part of this thing, right? We're all going to have different perceptions and different opinions about everything that goes on, but it's like, listen, come on back in. Let's do it out. Let's duke it out.
I tell you what, every outlet is like, oh, you're going to add good athletes and a lot of drama. Yes, please. That's just free content for 6 months. All right, last one. If you're the king for a day, Mr. Conway, what is the one thing from the Rogue Invitational you'd like to see the CrossFit Games do?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. Just
to
glow on Rogue a little bit. It's some of the magic behind the scenes that everybody did get to see if they watched the broadcast. Visually, the graphics and the investment.
The graphics at the Rogue
of all those people, brother. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, and we probably said it on broadcast without even thinking about it, but it's like we're covering it and stuff popping up on the screen. We're like, yo, this is so cool.
Dude,
and we're just
graphics, the bracket graphics on the duel.
Yep, hands down. And that's what I would say. I think this year that I was most excited about. It's like Sean and I have covered the duel several years, and it's not easy to cover because it can be really long. There's a lot of adjusting and shuffling and stuff that you got to wait on. And you know how it goes when you're covering broadcasts. There's a lot of cover. You got to cover, right? But this year, it was so smooth. The graphics were so cool. All of that got people excited. I was like, guys, if there's anything that we could scrape and use, it was that version or some type of similar execution of like an elimination event that would really get the people going. I thought they nailed that.
They nailed it. And that is how you run a bracket. Now, it took them 6 years to get it right. Let's keep that. But I thought they nailed it. So I'm with you. Adrian, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're on vacation and you already did all your work over the course of the weekend and you got an early flight tomorrow. But just want to thank you for coming on the show, providing your expertise, and some of the key things you took away might be part of the highlights we have in the 10 Feats of Fitness coming up. So, Adrian, Godspeed. Have a great trip home, and love to have you back sometime.
All right, dude. Let's do it.
All right, up next, your top 10 feats of fitness.
It all starts with a choice. You don't feel strong. You don't feel ready. Good. Nice. You showed up. Easy. Right. That's the only starting point. This isn't about perfection. Here we go. It's about the fight. Failure? It's not a detour. It's the road that progress demands. We don't ask, are you able? We ask, are you willing? Willing to walk through the door, to turn fears into fuel, to keep showing up again and again. The true test has never been ability. It's willingness.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Before we get to our top 10 feats of fitness for the week, remember you can always submit your videos to us here at CrossFit. Tag CrossFit, the CrossFit Games, and use the hashtag Forging Elite Fitness. Or if you don't want to do any of that, my Instagram handle's right there in the bottom. You can just send it directly to me, and we will see if it makes our top 10 for the week. So let's get right into it. Number 10, we have inverted parallel bars. So last week we had backwards box jumps. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But I hope Adrian Bosman is not watching this, because that might make its way into the season. And at number 9, this is the highest backflip I've ever seen off a wall. Started at 4 feet and then trying to get higher and higher. And it eventually, at a 10-foot attempt, that is the height of a professional NBA basketball hoop, and the 10-foot backflip off the wall was successful. Number 8. I mean, we all know kids are great movers, but this kid pretty much puts me and everyone else I know to shame with those weights. So good moving there. At number 7, we have a rig muscle up. We saw some muscle ups last week. This one is side by side off the rig, and one of the more incredible muscle ups I have ever seen. Number 6, we have Laura Horvath and her performance, not just at the Rogue Invitational, but dominating the field in event number 4 by 3.5 minutes on second place. Congrats to Laura Horvath for winning the Rogue Invitational for the 3rd time. At number 3, we go from one of the more harder ones to a first one. First bar muscle up. That is tilt shift CrossFit. If you guys want to see magical things like this, sign up for the Open starting January 14th. Number 4, we have a obstacle course on a treadmill. Emphasis on core in the course. This is kind of something I want to see people try. These are the fail videos that I would like to see, but impressive core performance on. And now in our top 3, coming in at number 3, we have, this is our first user submission. This is a 15-pound PR for 11-year-old Wavy. She started CrossFit when she was 5. That is a 150-pound back squat for her. Now we go from 11-year-old to a 100-year-old World War II veteran doing a strict pull-up on a turret from a tank at the Battle of the Bulge. And at number 1, Adrian Conway teased this earlier, Colton Mertens and his performance at the Rogue Invitational on event number 3, one of the hardest events I've ever seen programmed in competition. And Mertens beat the field by 2.5 minutes. So congratulations to Colton Mertens on his performance and taking the top spots of our top 10 feats of fitness. Before we go, we want to talk about not just what we see in the competitive space, but what we see all over the world, and that is our CrossFit licensed events for November. We've got the New Zealand Championship, Thailand Championship, Urban Wave Throwdown, Fit Games in Venezuela, Oceania Championship, Austrian Power Explode Asia Pacific Invitational, and the Arena Challenge. Closing out with the Deutschland Showdown. There, you can go to thegames.crossfit.com/competitions to see all the licensed events that are coming up in your area. CrossFit Podcast will be going live tomorrow with Don Fall joining the show. Make sure you guys go and watch that. That'll be on the CrossFit YouTube channel. Don Fall will be joining it with affiliate owner and on the council, Zia, as well. They will be joining Denise Thomas live at 12 p.m. Central. That'll do it for us here on the Sport of Fitness podcast. We'll be live next week here on Wednesdays.